Now, I think sort of as we transition, now that we've taken, sort of a look at the SDLC, given you sort of our very opinionated position on security in the SDLC, I think unifying security management, some of the challenges, let's start to go through that now, right? Now, this is one of those things where there's a lot of these types of slides out there that show, sort of the options that are available to you, right? I've got a couple of things to say here that I think, and a lot of these things are sort of the way I feel based on my experience as both a SaaS operator and sort of a product manager over the years, right? When I look across this list, I see some of my former employers on here too. I'll say this, as the heading states, SDL security gets expensive and complicated, right? So when you start thinking about these things, every one of these companies, or the vast majority of them, started off as point products, right? They had point products, and then they built themselves into sort of more platform plays. I think that one of the things that you have to decide when you're sort of kicking something like this off is, what kind of budget are you operating with, and what tools are available to you that are hypercritical. What parts of the SDLC are hypercritical where you want to spend those dollars, and make sure you have a reason, right? Like I always encourage people when they're looking at a very expensive commercial tool, take a look at the open source alternatives and make sure you're not paying for, sort of marketing. Make sure you're not paying for, so let's make sure that you're getting what you pay for, I guess, is what I'm saying. And, I think as I look across this list, there's a lot of good tools, a lot of tools that do a lot of really, really interesting things. But I also think that there are some platform plays out there as well. And I'm a big fan of staying away from the complete platform play. I think anybody that and I'll pick on Synopsys as an example. I love Synopsys. I used to work there. But I think about Synopsys, Black Duck, Coverity, and then they'll layer Polaris on top of that. You can hear the cash register ringing, right? And they have great products, but by locking yourself into that from a vendor perspective, it becomes very, very difficult to take advantage of. You're basically banking on one company to keep you at the front of the curve for innovation. And no matter what decisions you make here, right? You're ultimately going to need to layer on some posture management platform or visibility platform on top of this, right? So there's another group of dollars spent, right? And so again, I think the piece that I like to mention here is stay flexible, make sure that you're getting the best tool for the job. Ignore whether or not it's open source versus non-open source or commercial, and focus on the features and functions. But I think where that becomes most important is at the top of that, where you see the blue application security posture management platform. That part of it, is only going to be as good as that tool's ability to plug into some of these other options, right? And so you want to make sure that you're going with the most flexible option possible. You want to make sure that you're not locking yourself into something that essentially gates you from some of the innovation, or being able to, sort of choose the point tools that you need to choose based on whatever industry you're in.